Hi, everybody. It's Amy Valdivia, and I am excited because today on the Divorce Literacy Podcast, we have Miss Janet Price. Yay!
Thank you, Amy, for having me.
Miss Janet Price is my power partner because she is near and dear to my heart when it comes to the divorce arena. Coach, consultant, more importantly, focusing on the children. And I want to make sure that I am sharing with everybody her message. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Amy.
Tell me, first of all, tell me about your business. But before you tell the world about your business and what you do and how you support the divorcing community, I want to talk about MBA, CLC, CDS, COPS, and CADP. Boy, you have this long list of acronyms behind your name. Clearly you're credentialed. Clearly we know that you're the expert in your field. Tell us, what does all this mean?
Well, in the coaching space, I'm a divorce parenting and co-parenting coach, and I work exclusively with parents. And when I'm working with parents, I'm never working with the parents together. So that's very unusual because most individuals that say I'm a co-parenting coach work on having the parents together. So my work is helping parents individually learn all the skills that they need to successfully support themselves and their children to have thriving new lives, as well as to bring down conflict or create a peaceful co-parenting relationship. All the acronyms there is, this is my second career. My first career was at using my MBA in consulting and in operations, consulting and conflict resolution. And this career of mine is really my life purpose, which was something I had been looking for years and years and years. And that came to the place of, like you said, children. So my why is I work with the parents so that the children have the opportunity to love and be loved by both of their parents.
I love that. That is one of the reasons why we connected. When I first met you, I just had this instant connection because people ask me, home loans, divorce, what? And I said, I get to help the kids potentially stay in their home or just create some stability in their life by working with the parents.
Yes.
You talked about your approach and the fact that most in your field work with the parents together. Let's figure out how to co-parent together. You might be a little bitter. You might not want to sit next to this person. There might be some venom spewing across the table. However, let's figure out how to work together. You decided that's probably not the healthy approach. You said, we're going to work one-on-one. Tell me more about that. Do you work with each parent or just take on one side of the case?
So it depends where, when the client comes to me. So I have one-on-one group coaching and parent education. And so if a parent comes to me before they're just thinking about divorce, maybe, so they're just looking at their marriage and saying, oh, maybe divorce is going to be happier for our children, and the way they're pondering, then that's one-on-one and I only work with them. There is a group of folks that have engaged mediators and collaborative and amicable divorce, whom when they find those resources, the professionals refer them to me, and they each go through the same program, learning the same content, just separately. And then after the divorce and post-divorce problems, it's all again one-on-one. Right. If both wanted to work with me, it would be basically they would both have to say yes, and it's not about helping them figure out how to build the bridge in their communication. So all of the work, when you said this about why have I chosen to work with the parent individually, is the idea that fundamentally, the reason you're getting a divorce is somewhere your communication broke down, somewhere something happened, even if that's, one person stepped out of the marriage, your communication broke down somewhere. And there's a lot of emotions there. And the divorce process is really, as a parent, is really actually two business negotiations. It is the uncoupling of the business contract called your marriage, and it is the setting up of the business contract called co-parenting. And so business partnerships can be really close, or they can be pretty far away and still be a 50-50 partnership. So when you start thinking of your co-parenting relationship as a business partnership, you can take yourself out of the framework that we have to be the happy Brady Bunch. We have to be this happy get along to get along, because it just doesn't work for a lot of people.
Right.
Just doesn't.
Right. So uncoupling collaboratively in mediation. This is truly, it seems to be the movement in some parts of the country. So 2 questions. 1, why do you think that is? And 2, are you serving people in multiple settings or geographically only in your state? And that is where?
Here in California. So all of my work is via Zoom or telephonically. So
Okay.
I serve, honestly, because of the time zones, pretty much I stick to the United States, or something that I've tried several times to work with people, in Europe, and there's been a little bit of a time zone. I do have 2 clients right now, but we started in California. They're on holiday. So you asked me about the processes, the out of court processes, and that there was a trend.
Yes.
There's so many different ways, different divorce processes that one can follow. And using the court system is, litigation. And that's only one way. And as people are becoming more and more savvy about their options of divorcing, they are learning that there are lots of out of court processes to divorce. And specifically with parents, since that's who I work with, if the question that I pose about the court process, well, sometimes it's needed. There's lots of these out of court processes that can be very robust, and you do not need them. And the final question, if you're in the court, is you're basically asking a stranger who you have no idea about their parenting values, what they think, their religion, their political values. You are basically asking them to make a decision for your family, right? Because somehow the 2 of you just weren't good enough to be able to figure that out. So you're throwing your hands up. And I just say, do you want that? Right?
Right.
So that's why I think more people are moving towards an out of court process, not to mention it probably happened during COVID. The courts are so, jammed, and the time frame to go through and the waiting periods of getting to your next hearing, the length of time is so long that also becomes frustrating. And one can have all the support that is needed in out of court processes if they find the right professionals to support them. And so, when I get that client up front before they've started, what I'm fundamentally doing is teaching them how to become the CEO of their divorce process. Gotcha. And that's where I bring you, I teach them all about your skill set in the loan process, and the accountants and the certified divorce professionals, all the people that they can use to bring to the table to create their advisory board to feel strong as they walk into mediation or any of the other processes that there are.
Wonderful segue to my next question. Your program, that's the whole point. You're helping them build their team as part of your program. But dive deeper, walk me through. I'm a divorcing client and I have 2 children and they're young. And we're in this for the long haul, because until those children go to college and they're 18, we all say 18, actually a lifelong,
Right?
right?
For the rest of your life.
I'm co-parenting with this human that I now dislike. Walk me through the Janet Price program.
So the opportunity is to work one-on-one with me, and also to participate in several group coaching.
Okay.
And so I'll describe the one-on-one as setting you up for the CEO role for your life. I meet the client wherever they are. So as an example, one of my clients, who's today's her second mediation, when I started, she was working with her. Really, the mindset was, I need a bulldog attorney because I'm terrified to be in the same room with my soon to be ex-partner spouse. And I don't feel that I'm strong enough at all. And so where I had to start with her, and their assets are not to the point, they didn't own a home, which is why I hadn't reached out to you, because you would already know. And so the first point is getting her stable. So I start there in building her confidence and helping her learn the options for divorce. So it's a little bit of education. It's a little bit of emotional stability in these phone calls. And then constantly pointing to the future, even though the emotions might be bringing somebody down, and then the sadness, sitting there and holding that container, as well as helping shift the perspective and giving the homework to focus on to move it forward. So that in about 5 sessions with her, I got her to the place that she can do this. You can do this. You can mediate. You just need the right team. And so then I started pointing her to, okay, you need a tax person because you guys haven't filed your last year's taxes and you don't trust what's going on. So go to this person. And okay, now we need somebody to help you pull all your data together, your finances. So go to this person. Okay, now we need to talk to your trust and wills person to talk about that. So really helping set them up with tasks, to-do list, check-ins, accountability, as well as supporting the moments of I'm feeling really great and the moments of I've just tanked. What am I going to do? I've been sobbing for 2 days.
That's what you do. You focus on the emotion and you move them over to this side to become that CEO of their divorce. Okay, that's the whole program. What is the average time that you're working with a client?
So that is a 6-month process.
Okay.
For that amount of time period. And this would be for somebody that is 6 months would be for somebody who is not utilizing the court system. If they're utilizing the court system, that time frame looks different, and the amount of effort looks different, as far as attorneys asking for these. Oh, we're in the disclosure period, and that's very daunting with lots of things. So it's a different way of collecting information. So the out of court process is a 6-month time period. From there, people have worked through a lot of the emotions. There is no guarantee. A divorce takes lots of time to get over. But when you can start and shift your perspective and be able to actually understand and give yourself grace that it will take time, you learn tools, how to find little hope every day, move forward, and accept that it's not going to be perfect tomorrow.
This is your life. We're going to work through it. And there's a piece called divorce that's part of your life.
That's right.
Now, therapizing the children through this. Do you get involved with the children at all?
No, I work with the parents. And so that component, like you said, I mean, divorce is a big life change for anyone, right? It's and everyone goes through, including the children, the same emotional grief cycle as when you lose a loved one in death. So that's the same. The difference is in divorce, you're grieving maybe the love that you had, you're grieving the intact family dream that you had, your children are grieving, everybody has their own grief, right? And children or no children, you are trying to go through the grieving cycle at the same time that you are negotiating
Right.
the uncoupling of a conflict. So at the moment when you would be going through the first things of sadness or anger or denial, you're having to think and interact with that person. And so that's without children. Now add with children, you're negotiating this uncoupling of the marriage contract. You're negotiating the new contract of how you're going to co-parent. You're trying to go through your grieving. You're seeing your co-parent back and forth on the children's side. It's so much.
Right.
And so in working with the parents, if we may take one day where it's all about what's going on in the life with the children and how they're processing, and that might be one phone call. All the way through, I'm peppering different things and helping them say, okay, where are you? Can the two of you get together and decide on a blanket statement to sit down with the children? So I give those suggestions and help them figure out how they will communicate to the children of what's happening in the change of the family dynamic. And then what's the best way to do that, together or separate. And then I help them stand up for their side, how they support their children, no matter where they are.
How do you create this road plan? I can't imagine that there's this cookie cutter, okay, milestone 1, milestone 2, 3, 4, etc. How do you even know how to do that?
Right. So essentially it depends on when the client contacts me, right? So that's my starting point. And so if they contact me before they contacted anyone, which I would highly recommend, that's the first thing. I have a free strategy session, but just for that, to, talk about your strategy, where are you, and all those sorts of things. That gets you so set up for if one reaches out to me then, because I start with a lot of the divorce education at that point of, what do you think mediation is? Or what do you have you heard of other processes, right? And I start with a lot of the sadness and a lot of, what do I do about the children? So those 3 layers, and work with them through each of those 3 concepts until they're starting to get it. So that takes as long until the words are, and they're repeating sort of some of the words, and they come back to me, Janet, I'm so proud of myself. Today, I woke up and this is how I started thinking. So then I know they're ready to, now let's talk about your list. Let's put together the list of all the things you're going to know. So now I know I can add a little more details, because in the beginning, it's like fog. I don't even know how bad we in the professionals, we say the client is spinning out of control. It's not, that's not used to be a bad thing. It's just a lack of focus, because you just don't know, and there's nothing that you can concentrate. And so until one is able to control that a little bit, to have the digesting of what needs to be done in the process is very difficult. And the interviewing professionals and getting what they need from professionals becomes very difficult, because they're not in the right headspace.
Right. And because I'm the financial side, I say, okay, I take care of financial, you take care of emotion, to prepare them for financial. One of the topics, or one of the words that we use, is neutral. You said you work with one party, sometimes both parties. Yes, they're not in the same room. How do you remain neutral? How do you maintain that consistent, I'm just working with you, when you know or may know what the other side is saying or how they're coming along? How do you maintain that position, and how do you work them both? I presume you want to move them forward together, even though they're not in the same room. True?
So I don't do mediation. So
Okay.
that group program that is this working with both is parents. When I speak to them to tell them about it, I say, I don't work with individuals together. It is not my goal to help you communicate more effectively in the room together. That's not this program. What I am doing is I am teaching you over 4 2-hour Zoom sessions. I am giving you both the same information and content. I am educating you on how children experience the divorce process, how parents impact the children's success in their thriving future life, how to shift from this intimate married partnership to your business partnership, and communication tools. So I say, I'm not here for either of you. I'm teaching you information. And when I'm working with both of you, I have a script. So I make sure I cover both information. I go over the same information and you feel comfortable. You get homework sheets that are for you. I don't look at them. It's for you to ponder. And I do a one-on-one after at the end with each of them. And I said, when we do the one-on-one, my focus is to answer your questions on how you receive the information. And then you tell me about you and what you think you're going to need in order to keep the peace. And that's what we talk about. So the interesting thing, Amy, is the feedback is this comes through the mediators refer these clients to me. So when I do that one-on-one, and I don't tell the clients this, but more often than not, when they do the one-on-one with me, what their needs are to support the peace are always very similar. They just see it from a different opposite perspective. And so when I say, then in the parenting plan, sounds like you need this. Well, I'm saying to both of them, in the parenting plan, it sounds. And so when the mediation comes, they don't know that they've agreed, but it's happening because what they're asking for is the same thing.
So all of that together for me, tell me, what's the one most memorable, successful case that just always resonates in your heart when you talk about your why and your business? Illustrate it all.
Geez, I don't know if I have a one case actually, but it's these threads. My why is helping children be allowed and free to receive love from both of their parents and give love to both of their parents. Sometimes that means that I have a particular niche of clientele in which children and parents aren't having contact. So in that space, I work with the parent who's not having contact with their children in the moment and help them build the bridge to lay down the path so that they and their children begin that connection again. So that truly, to me, that happens with all of my clients. And so, of course, that gives me great joy. And so the moving up in all these other programs and starting from the beginning now is to prevent that from ever happening, right? So when I can work with a client from the very beginning and get them to a place where they say to me, oh my God, I got this. I can do this. I'm empowered. That is, I know what I need to do. I don't need somebody fighting and speaking for me. I got this and I don't have to fight. I feel confident. That's very gratifying. And the last is the middle in the co-parenting communication. The most gratifying is when a parent goes, I got this. I don't need to get into that circle of defending and communication nutty. I just need to know what I want and just say it and go move on with my life and just be done. So those are the three main areas and the themes.
And that's what creates the stability for the child.
That's
Because
right.
now they're not hearing the arguing, and they feel the calm in the parent. So it's the epiphany moment that's really the success for you.
It is. They say that 95% of what children learn in their primary years are by the actions of those in their life, right? Not the words. And so their actions of what you and your partner are doing. And so divorce does not have to be a traumatic experience for the children. It doesn't have to make a lasting imprint. How each parent shows up to navigate this life transition, which is called divorce, is how your children learn to navigate all life transitions in their life. So that's like what is one of the fundamentals of helping stabilize the parent, help them see that they can help their children.
Emotional support, moving to business, life skills 101. It's a full package, and it all starts in the ugly D word, and we make it so much better and become better humans through this process and through your programs.
Yes.
This is exactly what the Divorce Literacy Podcast needs to hear and share with our audience. And I truly just am amazed with everything that you have to offer. So for our listeners, how can they find you?
I think the best ways, I have all the social, Instagram, Facebook, all LinkedIn and all that. My website is www.jpcoachingandconsulting.com. And the best way, if they want to learn more, is to click, there's a tab that says complimentary sessions, and you will see the strategy session there. If you just want to learn how to work with me, you'll see a discovery call, how to become the CEO of your divorce. Right. And there will be other offerings. I have a newsletter. I mean, I have all these interesting different things. I have a divorced dad and stepdad free support group. So go to my website basically and then find what I have to offer.
Full package, everything we need. Anything else we need to share with the listeners and the community?
Yes, I wanted to turn it back around to you to make sure that people who are divorcing, who own a home, it is, I first learned about CDLP maybe a year ago. And before that, in my world, I always knew, yes, you need to immediately get to a lender in the very beginning. And so then, Amy, meeting you and learning all about the robustness of how you support your clients that come to you in this divorce space, it's really, really incredible. And, any family that comes to me that has a home, I refer to you from a CDLP standpoint at the very beginning, because who's going to be able, learning who's on title, can you afford to buy out, all those things, right? It's a long process.
Well, this was your interview. Hello. But I'll thank you for that anyways. I have enjoyed my time with you and I truly appreciate it. And I look forward to moving forward with you multiple times, helping clients together, lock arm in arm, supporting the family, especially to make sure that those kids get to stay in their home and feel supported, or maybe move on to the next place, but feel loved. So thank you
Yes.
so very, very much. I truly appreciate your time today, my friend.
Thank you, Amy, for having me.